Alright guys, this is the next video. This is for, let me just check what video it is. It is for compound, I can't remember what it's called on the Khan Academy, but it's compound events. It's part 2. So let me write that in. Okay. This is compound events. Okay, so it's kind of like compound, meaning things are compounded on top of each other. So there's many events going on. So we have different colors. That's one variable, one thing that's changing. Then we have the different type of article of clothing. We have socks, hats, pants, and shirts. Okay, so you are at a clothing store that dyes your clothes while you wait. The store offers 4 different articles of clothing and 3 colors. If you randomly choose the article of clothing and the color, which of these diagrams can be used to find all of the possible outcomes? Well, I mean, we could have, of the 4 items of clothing, we can have blue socks, a blue hat, a blue pants, or a blue shirt. And same thing, orange of each color and purple of each, orange of each item, and then purple of each item as well. And actually, I mean, the only thing that's difference between these is the order of the colors and the order of all the items of clothing. So this one here, it's both, it's both diagram A and diagram B. If there's 3 colors and 4 items, you can just multiply them together, and there's going to be a total of 12 different options. So both would be correct here in this case. This is probably the key problem. This is like we've been using a lot of coins and stuff. This is kind of that type of problem. Okay. The rows in the table show the possible outcomes for which of these situations. Taking 8 random steps left or right 3 different times. Jumping randomly left or right 3 times. Taking 3 random steps left or right 8 times. Taking 3 steps and randomly choosing left or right for the direction of each step. Okay, there is a total of 8 different options here. And there's 2 different options that you can choose. You can choose left, or you can choose to take a step, or I guess a jump to the right. So it's very similar to getting either heads or getting a tails on a coin. You have 2 options. So here's flip 1. Flip 1, and I'll draw Abraham Lincoln. Okay, that's a coin. So flip 1, I can get a heads or a tails. Now after that, if I get a heads and I'm about ready to flip it again I have 2 different options. I have heads or tails. And I have heads or tails. So this right here, there's another coin. This is the flip 2. So after 2 flips, I have the following possibilities. I can have heads, heads. I can have heads, tails. I can have tails, heads. Or I can have tails, tails. So there's 4 different options I can do if I do 2 flips, which is interestingly the same thing as 2 squared. But that's for another day. Okay. Let me make it real big. Okay. Now, if I flip it one more time, I have once again the same options, heads or tails. I could flip another heads or tails, heads, tails, heads or tails. This here, that's supposed to be a person, it looks more like a world, is flip 3. So now how many total options do I have? Well, I could have heads, heads, heads. That's this branch right here. Heads, heads, heads. I could have heads, heads, tails, which is this branch right here. Heads, heads, tails. I could have heads, tails, heads, heads, tails, heads. And lastly, on the head side, heads, tails, tails. Heads, tails, tails. So just if I get heads as the first flip, I've got 4 different options. It looks interestingly like this. All of the first 4 were the same if I get heads as the first one. Now, on the tail side, if I get tails as my first flip, I can have tails, heads, heads, which is this branch. Oops, not very good. Tails, heads, heads. I could get tails, heads, tails. Excuse me. I can get tails, tails, heads. And lastly, tails, tails, tails. Okay. I wonder if I can just move this a little bit. Hold on, let's see. Okay, edit. Yes, okay, fantastic. Oops. Okay, I'll move this right up here. Let's try that. That looks pretty good. That looks better. Okay. Okay, sorry. Oops. Let me just erase this. Okay. So these are all the different options that I have over here for all the flips of coins. And it's pretty similar to taking a left or a right step. So taking 8 random steps, left or right, 3 different times, 8 random steps. This one is not going to be it. This would be like taking 8 different flips, and the amount of combinations for this is quite staggering, because you could have, I mean, it's like a list of like 8 different left or rights, 3 different times. So this is too much. Jumping randomly left or right 3 different times. This would work. This is exactly like this. I could go left or I could go right. And I could go left or right, and it's 3 different times. So it's the same thing as these 3 flips. Taking 3 random steps, left or right, 8 different times. So actually, I'm sorry, let me back up. These different times are like each flip. So this still would not work. It would be an incredible amount. It'd be like left, right, right. I mean, this is just one possibility, left, left. So I'm 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it does that like 8 different times. There'd be over thousands of combinations with this. Taking 3 random steps, left or right, 8 different times. So that would be like 8 flips. So this pyramid would get even bigger. That wouldn't work. Taking 3 steps and randomly choosing a left or right for the direction of each step. Taking 3 steps and randomly choosing left or right for the direction of each step. This one would work. Taking 3 steps. So a total, 1, 2, and 3. 3 steps total, and each time you're choosing either left or right. So it's like this. You could change this to flipping a coin 3 times, taking 3 steps randomly, and recording, and because it's random, heads or tail, and recording heads or tails with each flip. Okay, I know it kind of got a little hard to read, but this one is definitely a much more difficult problem, and I'm approaching the free recording, the time limit, but this chain, I think, is the key to solving this. And there's 8 total possibilities if you have 2, either it could be heads or tails or left or right with each time you take a step or each flip of the coin. I hope this helped. Thank you very much, everybody, and good luck.